here's the other thing that's really bothering me about, I agree with you that the reporters, many of them did a good job, but there were some glaring questions that were not asked. The timeline was changed dramatically on Sunday morning. What this sheriff had been saying to us before was that at 11 o'clock or just after 11 a.m. on Sunday morning, the family was notified by a friend in the church who noticed Nancy didn't attend, and they went over to her house, and about an hour later, they called 911. That was the story this whole week.
That created a lot of consternation.
Then we got to the... And many people said, why did it take an hour? How do you, like, especially seeing blood outside of the house, like Brian Entin got on camera, who would take an hour? Now, then last night or yesterday at the presser, that totally shifted. He said they got to the house and discovered she was missing at 11:57 a.m. So we've lost a whole hour now, the controversial hour, and called law enforcement 5 minutes later at 12:03.
Yeah, I think it was 7 minutes later.
Sorry. My math
Which,
is off.
by the way,
my math is off. Okay.
7 is lightning fast.
That's fast. Okay, so it's a dramatic difference. But here, let's just listen. Here's what he had said prior to yesterday. This was the story, SOD 18.
Sometime earlier that morning, they got a call from somebody at the church who said, hey, your mom's not here. The family went to the house. I'm thinking they spent some time looking for her themselves before they called us. So I'm guessing maybe they got there around 11. So they did some searching and realized we need some help, and they called 911.
She was dropped off at 9:30, and she was found to be missing at about 11 o'clock Sunday morning.
I know that when we got there, the family was already there, and they had already spent some time looking, as you would expect. Probably we got an hour delay there from them. Not anything intentional, just that, they went and looked and made some calls, and then they decided we better call 911.
And at 11:56 a.m., the family checks on Nancy and discovers her missing. And at 12:03 p.m., 911 is called in to the Pima County Sheriff's Department.
What? Because just to underscore it here, first they got a call from a friend at the church around 11:10. Then he says it was at about 11. Then he told you, that middle clip is on your show. He says they found out about 11 and it was about an hour delay before they called 911. Now, yesterday, he says they checked on Nancy and discovered her missing at 11:57. Right? Is it? I keep
11:57. No, that's right number. That's right number.
Yeah, 57. So what do you mean? Because we've also, in the midst of all that, had both the Daily Mail and Brian Entin yesterday told us as well, reporting that Nancy Guthrie wasn't going to church physically anymore and hadn't been since the COVID pandemic, that she'd been joining the live stream the church offers and participating from her home. Moreover, the Daily Mail reports it wasn't a Zoom situation where the congregants could see who was joining virtually. It was just a live stream being blasted out by the church, outgoing only. And therefore, no one would be aware of whether Nancy was participating or not. So how do we go from, she talked to a friend who was concerned at the church, which you heard him say on camera there, and they took him an hour and then they called 911, to now it's, they checked on Nancy and discovered her missing and within moments called 911.
Yeah, I think these are all things that lead to an even bigger mystery and a little confusion. I always give law enforcement grace when there's so much going on and there's an exigent circumstance, and now all these ransom notes, which have taken law enforcement's direction elsewhere. Let's be honest, this is awful. These ransom notes, especially the one in California, if this guy is guilty of this, it has taken their attention away. But it's a, fog of war is not easy. I can understand how there'd be communication breakdown. There's other agencies coming in, sharing of information, maybe telephone, the game of telephone makes mistakes. But I do think that it adds to another element of confusion about this.
I think you're being too nice in this situation. With all due respect to the sheriff, you know as well as I do, the time she was discovered missing is very important.
It's critical.
It's not fog of war. It is not fog of war. That you know.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. Maybe the dissemination of it was, though. The only grace I give is that it is a complicated task that they're undergoing, and we don't make it
Nobody
easier.
asked about it. Somebody in that room needed to say, "You've adjusted the timeline dramatically, Sheriff. Why?"
Yeah, no, there was lots that I wish they'd followed up on the car being towed and being processed by warrant. I mean, where was that? Like, hold it.
You and I are going to have to fly out there for the next one. Literally, I think you and I are going to have to fly out there together for the next one. That's at least 4 questions, 2 for you and 2 for me. Yeah, seriously. I was very frustrated because it was like, that's an obvious one. Ask that. And the one about the car was the other one. Like he just sort of elided around it. It was like, car, standard search warrant, court orders,
the house,
crime scene.
not which house.
Wait.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I know.
Nancy's house is the crime scene. Was it towed from Nancy's house or was it towed from Annie's house, Sheriff? And whose car was it? What? And if it's Annie's, why are you towing Annie's car?
I only think that since many of the breaking pieces of information that I had were addressed bullet by bullet in that news conference, that when he said
he did that right at the top,
being towed, I assumed that was because I reported that Annie's car has been towed and is now in evidence. I assumed that's what he was saying because he said the car towed from the house. That's standard. As per warrant, it's being processed. So he didn't say from Nancy's house. He didn't say from Annie's house. I can only go on. He was bulleting my reports and trying to knock him down. But did you hear what he said about the cameras? Something else I picked up on.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, big time.
But before we talk about the cameras, let me just say quickly, we actually did reach out. We went and tried to pull the warrants to see if they were public. They're under seal, so we can't get them right now to see exactly what they got a warrant for. But let's talk about the cameras because that's another piece of your reporting that has come under fire. First, tell us what your reporting is, and then we'll talk about what he said.
So the exact words that were used is that the Nest, and I was told Nest cameras, that was the first time that they'd been named. They weren't Ring cameras. They were Nest cameras, plural, were smashed. That was the wording. Nest cameras were smashed. And when asked about that, the sheriff said, well, first he had reported they were removed and in the timeline called them disconnected. But when asked about them being smashed, he said, smashed. I don't know where you got the information about smashed, but we're not confirming that. And then, he did confirm it is plural, that there were more than one. And that was something that I reported, that there wasn't just the one that Brian Enton saw the bracket left behind. By the way, he went further about that. And it was interesting. He said, regarding the disconnected camera, do you believe that camera was taken? And the sheriff said, we do not have it in our possession. We have not located it. So does that mean that the perpetrator smashed those cameras off the brackets and took them away? Maybe he just doesn't.
Clearly, here he is. Let me play for the audience. It's SOT 14. It's a montage.
Sunday morning, early morning at 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera disconnects. The doorbell camera, it was removed. We know that, but we're not confirming that any cameras were smashed or destroyed around the house. I don't know where that came from, but that's something we're not confirming.
When you say the doorbell camera was disconnected, do you believe that camera was taken?
We do not have it in our possession. We've not located it.
It's a yes.
Well, I mean, it's off the bracket. How do you get it off the bracket? Do you bring a screwdriver or do you smash it? Or is this semantics? I don't know. But to me, it was pretty telling that that's more of my reporting that has borne out.
And then we were able to get to the bottom of yesterday. We got very confused as we looked at the timeline that they put up about how he was saying the doorbell cameras were disconnected. And then minutes later, there was a picture captured of a person.
No, not a picture.
They don't have the image because
it's the alert.
No, I know. But there was an alert. Yeah. The point is not whether it was a picture or a written text. The point is that they got a communication from a camera.
Yeah.
After they said the doorbell cameras were disconnected, which was confusing. And what they said was there were other cameras. That was basically the explanation. We reached out to the FBI. We reached out to the sheriff's office. We went back and watched the end of the presser where they did reference there being more than just the doorbell cameras. And the sheriff's office, too, clarified basically there were other cameras. And it was one of these other cameras that alerted them to the image of a person. The sheriff later said could have been an animal, too.
Alerted to activity.
At the house.
And the secret is here, and it's a great message to everybody who's watching and listening. if you have a doorbell service of some kind, whether it's Nest, Ring.com, or any of the services, you pay for a subscription to be able to get your history. Or for many of them, it's just a live alert. There's someone at your door right now. You can look and you might be able to talk to them. But once that's done, it's gone. You don't have an archive of it. So if you come home and you wonder who is skulking around your front door, unfortunately, if you don't have the service, the subscription, you can't go back and look at all the alerts and what they actually recorded. And that was what I think they were trying to tell us.
Snapchat. International disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There is a never-ending list of reasons that gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years. And a never-ending list of reasons smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals with Birch Gold Group. Gold can thrive during uncertainty, which is why it's a crucial part of a balanced strategy. It gives you peace of mind, given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Just text MK to the number 989898 to receive your free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, consider letting Birch Gold help you diversify with gold, so you too can have peace of mind regardless of the uncertainty. Text MK to the number 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.